I would like to introduce you to somebody who's very dear and special to me. Her name is Denise Schwabe. She is a graduate of the program before you. She worked under my care prior to that and was dealing with some health issues, and she fully recovered, implementing principles. This is a beautiful woman, warrior of God, and you will absolutely love her. I am literally blown away by what she's already done, and we're having Denise on here for those reasons, but also to motivate all of you and to be inspired by her and her story. And so knowing that you can do the same, it is incredible. You know that saying, the sky is the limit? Well, she went above the sky and above the clouds and the stars and really made such a transformation in her life. So Denise, please, without further ado, here is Denise, and
So
she.
it's so good to be here. I mean, I just can't express, what it feels like to come back on here after completing the course myself. And thank you, Tony Jean, for having me. I love you so much. I want to first and foremost, before I start, is thank God for the opportunity to be here and just thank him for everything that he's done, doing, and about to do in my life. I can't do any of this without him, so I have to give him all the credit, all the glory. So I just want to put that out there. And I just want to congratulate you for completing the program because it is such an achievement. Like Tony Jean was saying, it takes discipline, obedience, faithfulness. But I met Tony Jean about 15 years ago on Facebook. I met her, I was healing from just coming out of the hospital. And I actually took I took a biblical health coach training class. I just remember I wanted to hook up with like-minded people. And of course, being a believer was the first thing. Loving God, loving Jesus. And then, she was on this journey. We were on similar paths, but she was way ahead of me. I began working with her, as she said. She became my naturopathic practitioner and became a mentor and a dear friend and sister in Christ. I love her dearly. So when I experienced that fall, I was working full time in, I call it the grind. I mean, I worked, in nursing, medical, and I worked with developmentally disabled adults. I remember praying to God, like really right before the big fall accident. And I said, God, he knew my heart and I wanted to be in full-time ministry. When I did fall at work, it became a major interruption in my life and everything stopped as I knew it. I could no longer work. And then I stopped, I couldn't do the dance ministry anymore. So I'm like, what looked like a setback from God was actually a setup. Never take that for granted. Like you think that something interrupted your life, that God might be doing something, which he did in my case. So even though Tony Jean was my practitioner, and she gave me the protocol and all that, I wasn't following it 100%. I can't stress enough how important it is to follow it. But I recognized during that time that I had food addictions that had control over me. And I had to surrender all that to God. And when I did, everything changed. It was completely changed. So through faith and food, because that faith and food and a complete obedience, God healed me from the inside out. And that was when my first book was born. I've written 2 books. One is called Healed from the Inside Out Through Faith and Food. And the other one is Grace in Every Season. I never thought I was going to be an author or writer. I never thought I was going to come back and do. Then I ended up enrolling in Tony Jean's, the class that you're in. And I graduated in October of 2025, just recently. And that program, her program, equipped me so much spiritually and practically to move on, to what I'm doing now. So what has God done in these 3 months? In 3 months of graduating, I have 4 clients. I did publish my second book since then. I am currently writing my 3rd book, which is a cookbook. I am hosting a seminar in March. I have a podcast interview scheduled in April that Tony Jean hooked me up with Angela. I'm going to be doing that. I already held 2 book signing events. And just to emphasize that these are fruits of obedience. They're not personal achievements at all. It's all him. It's all God. And I couldn't do anything. And he used Tony Jean in my life in a big way. And as he's using her in your life. And your certification tonight is not the finish line, it's the starting line for you. In saying all that, I just pray moving forward that you take this and run with it and do what, if you're believers, that you do what God is calling you to do. And I just want to thank Tony Jean so much. She has no idea how much she means to me. I don't think she knows. Her saying yes to God, in the time when I needed her, and what she's been instrumental in my life. And in fact, in my first two books, I dedicated my books to her. God first, and then Tony Jean. But I love you dearly, Tony Jean, and I just thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to come on here. And I forgot, I have a healthy living page too. That's part of my ministry. But all of this I'm in full-time ministry now. I do have clients. I did write books. I'm having a seminar, and you all learned that in this course. So I just pray, I hope and pray that what I've shared has encouraged you. And thank you, Tony Jean.